Do not, guys, I repeat, do not buy a fishing kayak. What's up, everybody? How's it going today? I decided to bring you a video from outside. You guys will have to pardon the traffic. I think everybody realized that I was going to do a video outside and decided to drive down my road today. So bear with me, guys. There's a reason I'm out here, and the reason is, and I apologize for getting so serious with you so quick, guys. But I want to bring it down a notch, and I want to make things a little serious right now. And you guys can quote me on this if you need to, but do not, guys, I repeat, do not buy a fishing kayak. And there's a reason for this. There's 5 that I'm going to give you. 5 reasons. 5 reasons I'm going to tell you that I don't think you should buy a fishing kayak, okay? The first thing I'm going to say is, guys, if you like money in your pockets, if you want to save money, do not buy a fishing kayak, guys, because these things right here, first of all, they cost money, and second of all, once you buy one, you're going to want to buy 2. And once you buy 2, you're going to want to upgrade both of them. And you're going to want accessories and so on, guys. So if you like money and you want to save it, don't buy a fishing kayak. Also, guys, those of you fishermen out there that fish from the bank, if you like fishing from the bank and you like being limited on where you can cast and you like being limited on the bodies of water that you can fish, don't buy a fishing kayak, guys, because as soon as you buy a fishing kayak, it's going to open your world up to a ton of other water to fish. So if you like being limited, I suggest you never buy a fishing kayak. Number 3, guys, if you've got a woman or a man at home and you love them and you want to be around them all the time, don't buy a fishing kayak, because as soon as you buy a fishing kayak, you're going to be in that fishing kayak and you're going to be fishing, guys. Now, there is one stipulation on this rule, and only one. If you buy a fishing kayak, you must buy 2. That's what I did. So now my wife has no choice but to go with me, spend time with me in the outdoors. So if you've got a woman at home and you don't want to buy two fishing kayaks, then I suggest you don't buy a fishing kayak, because you're going to be gone and you're going to be fishing, and then they're going to pack their bags and leave. It's a possibility. Number 4, guys, if you like being cooped up inside and you don't like the outdoors, you don't like nature, don't buy a fishing kayak, because as soon as you buy one of these, you're going to be in the outdoors. It's really hard to fish from a kayak indoors, guys. So if you don't like the outdoors, don't buy a fishing kayak. I promise you that's not a good thing to do. Number 5, guys, and this is probably almost the number 1 rule. If you don't like looking cool, don't buy a fishing kayak. Do not buy a fishing kayak, guys. Those are my 5 rules. Now, on the flip side of the coin, let's go ahead and let's flip this, guys, right now. Alright, guys. Guess you didn't know that once we flip the script here, I'd end up inside my warm house on my nice comfy couch. I wanted to bring this part indoor, guys, because I didn't want the wind or I didn't want the traffic to distract anybody, because what I'm about to say is important. Okay, now that I've talked to you guys about why you should not buy a fishing kayak, and let me go ahead and let's recap those. So if you like money and you like saving it, don't buy one. If you like fishing from the bank and being limited on where you can fish from, don't buy one. If you like your woman at home and you want to be around them all the time, or your man, that's for you ladies out there, don't buy one because you will be gone. If you don't like the outdoors and you want to be inside your house all the time and don't get fresh air and sunlight, don't buy one because you will be in the outdoors. I promise you, it's addicting. And last but not least, if you just don't like to look cool, if you want to just sit home and not be cool, then don't buy one, because as soon as you sit in a fishing kayak, you're going to look pretty cool. Now that we've got that out of the way, guys, and we've flipped the coin, we want to talk about if you are going to buy a fishing kayak, okay? And the reason I want to talk about this is because I just jumped in feet first in the deep end and started buying kayaks. And I didn't really do a whole lot of research. I did research on kind of like what kind of kayaks I might want to buy, but I didn't do the proper research, guys. So if you're in the market for a fishing kayak, then these are kind of some of the things that you're going to want to think about in your head, and it will help you narrow down your search on what kind of kayak you should be looking for, okay? And the first thing is you need to determine whether you want to paddle or pedal. My opinion, if it's your first, buy a paddle kayak. Get to paddling one, see if you like it, then go to the pedal. That's what I did. But if you're just bound and determined, you're like, no, I don't want to paddle, I want to pedal, then by all means, do it that way. But this is what you have to understand, is that the cheapest brand new pedal kayak that you're going to be able to buy is going to be around $1,600-$1,700. And that's brand new. Of course, you can get on Craigslist, eBay, stuff like that. You could probably find one for cheaper used, but just remember, the pedal drive kayaks are going to be quite a bit higher. I bought a paddle kayak. I bought two, just like you seen outside, the Pelican Sentinel 100s. I bought two of them, my wife one and me one as well, for my first kayak, and I loved it. It was about $300. It was one of the entry-level big box stores kayaks. I rigged it up, put fish finder on it, put my own hatch in it. I had it rigged up, and I loved it for what it did. It got me out on the water, and it got me quick, and I only spent $300 on that. You need to decide if you want to paddle or pedal first, okay? Okay, guys, so after you have decided whether you're going to paddle or pedal your kayak, I need you to look at the transportation you have. How are you going to transport this kayak? Because they all weigh different. They all are different lengths, that sort of thing. So you're going to have to determine really, really quick how you're going to transport this kayak. Are you going to buy a kayak trailer? Because they can be pretty pricey. Are you going to make one like I did? Are you going to pull it behind your truck? Do you have a hitch? Are you going to have to put it on top of your car because you don't own a truck, or it won't fit in the bed of your truck? You have to determine how you're going to get this thing around, because that's going to be a big, big part of which kayak you buy. And after you figure out how you're going to most likely transport this kayak that you haven't bought yet, you're going to think about the accessories. Guys, accessories. Okay, you need to think about the paddle if you're going to paddle one. I did a paddle versus paddle video you guys can look back and refer to and decide what kind of paddle you're going to buy, because the paddles, most of the time, the paddles do not come with the kayak. Sometimes you can talk the dealer into maybe giving you some sort of package deal like I did, but you have to include the paddle and how much the paddle is going to cost. You also need to look at your other accessories, like, do you have a fish finder already? Do you want one? You're most likely going to want some sort of electronics on there, because you're going to want, at the very least, to determine the depth and how much, or the temperature of the water. At the very least, you can get them anywhere from $100 to however much you want to spend. I kind of went overkill, bought a Hook 7, put it on mine, but I like the bigger screens, helps me see, yada yada yada. But the smaller ones work great too. My first one, I put a Hook 4 on there. I think I bought it for like $200, something like that, and it worked great. But it is going to cost money. Are you going to want lights on it? Are you going to want a crate in the back? You're going to have a crate. Are you going to want a black pack? Refer to my other video. Are you going to, want rod holders? Just that sort of thing, guys. You got to look, price these accessories, determine which ones you're going to want right off the bat, because you're going to want them in the long run. I promise you that, guys. And then the next thing you have to look at is you have to look at how big are you? Your size, your weight, the weight of your gear, okay? I want you to determine, based on how big you are, how tall, what kind of gear you're going to want to bring, how much gear, and how much you weigh. Put that all together, and then you're going to want to look at the weight capacity of these kayaks. Like my Perception Pilot outside is a 525 pound weight capacity, which is really high, and I like that higher weight capacity because I sometimes take my 3-year-old, my 4-year-old out on the kayak with me, and I let him chill on the yak and fish with me. And I don't want a tandem, but I want one that's going to support my gear and possibly my son as well. So you need to look at everything, all right? Because, you might have 100 pounds of gear on there. You might weigh 250. You might be 6'7". In that case, you're probably not going to want a 10-foot kayak with a 250-pound capacity. You're going to want something a little longer, a little bigger. Do your research on that. I won't buy anything less than a 12-foot for my fishing expeditions. I think 12 or 13 is about perfect for me, and that's what I've determined. But keep in mind, my first kayak I bought was 10 foot, and then I bought a 12 foot, and then I bought a 12.5 foot. So you have to kind of think, in relation to what all you're going to put on there. Remember, size and weight, guys. Size and weight, and then weight capacity of the kayak. The next thing you're going to want to look at, guys, is where are you going to fish at? Are you in small ponds all the time? Are you in lakes? Are you offshore? Are you in the Gulf? You guys need to determine the bodies of water that you're most likely going to fish. And then that will tell you, do I need a 10-foot kayak? Am I small enough to fit in there? Is my gear going to be light enough? Am I going to have a ton of stuff and I want to fish offshore? If so, guys, you're probably not going to want to go lower than a 13-foot. You got to think about where you're going to fish. Is the water going to be calm? Are there going to be currents? You need to determine all of that so you can look at the whole styles of your kayaks. You can look at the length and you can look at the width and then determine which one is going to fit you best. Okay? And then after you have looked at all of those, done your research on whether you want to paddle or pedal, whether you're going to get a trailer or put it on top. You need to figure out your transportation. You want to figure out what accessories you have, what kind of gear you have, and what kind you want to still buy. You looked at your size, your weight, and the weight capacity of the potential kayaks. And then you've thought about all the bodies of water that you're going to most likely fish in that kayak. You're going to pull out your wallet and you're going to look at how much money you have to spend on these kayaks. Okay? You're going to want to do you have $2,000 that you want to spend on a kayak? If so, you need to divide that $2,000 up into the kayak itself, the accessories that you're going to want right off the bat that you don't have, that's your paddle also. Don't forget your paddle, guys. It costs money. Okay? And then you're going to look at your transportation. Do I have to buy a roof rack? Do I need to focus on buying a trailer? Do I want to take $300 of that and try to build a trailer? Then you'll take what's remaining and you'll use that towards the best kayak in your class at that time. I went out and just spent, I had, a budget of, say, $350, and I went out and was like, bam, bought me a $300 kayak. That left me with $50, guys. I had to buy a $50 paddle, which I hated. Trust me, I hated it right off the bat. Didn't have any money for my fish finder yet. Didn't have any money for any extra poles or my crate system or anything like that. And I had to wait until, my next paycheck until I could save up more money and get the other stuff, when if I would have looked at it like, okay, maybe I should buy a $200 kayak or buy a used kayak. That way I can take the rest of this money and get everything to where I'm going to be ready right off the bat. Now, keep in mind, I look at it. I'm the type of person that is I want it, and I want it now, and I want it fast. And I do like to do research, and I like to know what I'm going to buy. But at the same time, I wanted to just get out on the water. You know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to get out there. So if you guys you want to get on the water, it's your first time, test it out. By all means, go buy the lower end, the $300 one, get you a paddle it, just see if you like the idea of it. But remember, guys, you're going to have to determine all of these things, and you're going to want to know, like, how long am I going to be out there? You know what I mean? And this is something, I'm going to throw this one in. Not a lot of people care about it, but it is something that made me end up upgrading right off the bat. Literally, I had my first kayak for 2 or 3 months, and then I upgraded to an Ascend FS12T for this reason and this reason alone. I wanted to be able to stand. Now, I don't do a lot of standing and fishing out of my kayak, but I wanted to be able to have that option. And a lot of the lower end, big box store kayaks, $200-300, you're not going to be able to do that. And I promise you, after about 6-7 hours on the water, your butt's going to hurt, your back's going to hurt. It's going to be uncomfortable, especially until you get used to it. So I went out and I made sure I could have the standing option, guys. So as a bonus, once you figure all of the other things out, and then you figure out how much money you've got to spend, you want to look at these kayaks and say, is this one going to be able to support me standing? Does this have a standability feature? How hard is that going to be? Does it have a stand-up strap in it if I want to stand up? Or look at the seats. If I'm not going to stand up, how comfortable is that seat? The seat is a big deal, guys. So take this information that I've given you today, guys, put it in here, turn it around, and then let me know what kind of kayak you guys ended up going out and buying. I would love to know. It's a passion of mine. I love kayaks. I love everything. I love recreational. I love fishing. I love whitewater. Anything that has to do with kayaking in general is a passion of mine. Just so happens that fishing is also a passion, so I combine the two, and that's pretty much my life. So let me know what you guys decided to do. I'm curious. I'm sure everybody else is curious as well. If you have stories that you'd like to share with me of the first kayaks you bought and the mistakes you made, share them in the comment section so we can help everybody out. We can help everybody make the best decision and make their money go the farthest. Okay? So that's all I have for you today, guys. I really appreciate you watching, and I'm going to tell you, like I tell you every single day, make every day count, guys. You never know how much time you're going to have, and you want to make sure you're doing what you love and you're doing it with a smile, guys. Positivity brings positivity. Trust me whenever I say this, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I appreciate it more than you know, guys. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you haven't already, give the video a thumbs up. Thank you, guys. Have a good day. Be safe out there.